speaking in the traditional Toastmaster sense because he will be speaking from not a manual, from a path, presentation mastery level 2, and his project is understanding your communication style. The speech title is Have You Seen Him? Nick Lakhani is president of Warrington Toastmasters Club in England. He is actively working on his Advanced Communicator Bronze as well as on two paths. His ambition is to become a Pathways DTM and at the same time establish a business online. Tonight, he undertakes the Understanding Your Communication Style project in level 2, sharing how his communication style has impacted his personal relationship with his son. With a speech entitled Have You Seen Him? Please welcome Nick Lakhani. Nick, will you unmute yourself, please?
Have you seen him? Have you seen him? Have you seen my son? He's lost. No, not anymore. He's not 3 like in the picture. He's actually 16 now. Have you seen him? Have you seen my son? No, not in the divorce. There's no divorce. She's okay with me, I think, right now. Have you seen him? Have you seen him? Have you seen my son? He just won't talk to me anymore. What am I going to do now? Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guests. This is a situation I found myself in last year. My son, Ayush, is actually 16 now. And he was coming up to some really important exams, and he just didn't want to study. What I found was that he didn't listen. Everything I said was wrong. And every time I said something, he would do exactly the opposite. Have you ever felt that? When I was his age, I worked really hard. I worked hard for my exams, and I listened to my dad. No. Maybe it's not his problem. Maybe it's my problem. Let me explain. When I was 16, I didn't listen to my dad. But then he couldn't talk to me. He found it difficult to make himself understood, and I found it difficult for him to hear. And now, 30 years on, we're finding the history is repeating itself. So I had to do something. I couldn't go through this again. What I wanted to do was to find out about my communication. We're here to learn, okay? So what I did was I looked at my communication styles. And so what I found was that we have direct, initiating, supporting, and analytical communication styles. So what? Well, direct is when somebody's decisive, competitive, a bit like me. I like that. That's me quite a lot. Initiating are perceived as self-assured, innovative. There's a bit of me in that as well. Supportive, calm, steady. They need space. Give them time and encourage them. Analytical, that's me as well. Likes cold, hard facts. Yeah. What I found was that I am a direct communicator more often than not. But the other thing I learned was it's really important to find out what style the other person has. It doesn't matter what you have. If they can't hear it, it doesn't matter. So I found my son is supportive. He needs that support. He needs the room. I need to be calm. I need to give him space. I needed to give him time to think. What I found was these two were clashing all the time. So what? Well, in my personal life and my professional life and my business life, this could happen all the time. But it's really important to make sure you understand how to communicate to get your point over. So what I had to do was to tone this one down and be more supportive to my son. So much so that we managed to get things right. We managed to actually talk and listen together, and we actually then got on. What did I have to do? I had to change. I need to learn. I need to learn that sometimes my dominant style is not the right one. I'll throw that away. Use the one that works for that person. Use that supportive one. Make sure that he can understand, give him the space, and then let him thrive. He did very well in his exams. We're so proud of him. The learning point for me, well, actually, 30 years ago, I was the supportive one. My dad was the dominant one. And guess what? It didn't work then. But now I learned, I changed. I wanted to actually make sure this worked, and I have to go with the flow. And then in 30 years' time, he'll have the same conversation with his son, and he'll have to learn the same thing. What does this mean for all of you? When you're in the training room, when you're lecturing, when you're teaching, when you're working, it's really important you look at the different styles that are in the room, and then make sure you teach through the different styles. There may be 3 or 4 or 5 different styles in the room. The question for you is, are you willing to change? Are you willing to do the hard things in life and change yourself so that you can get your message across for somebody else's betterment? Madam Toastmaster.
Wow.